Well, the early morning darshan at Shankaracharya and sunrise with Shiva, that was an amazing experience. And what's happening now is also quite surreal, ladies and gentlemen. We're quite literally on top of the Dal Lake here, and I have with me three very, very prominent Kashmiris with whom I want to have this early morning chat on whether or not we are on the right path. Jammu and Kashmir, 3 years since abrogation, is on the right path. There is a lot of weeding out of those who are existing to try and derail the system. But has the mindset been attacked? The mindset that was sowing the seeds of separation, the mindset that was sowing the seeds of divide, the mindset that actually scratched through and tore through this entire syncretic culture, ethos of Jammu and Kashmir. Is that being attacked? Let's ask these questions, and also what more needs to be done. I have with me Sanjay Tikkuji, President of the Kashmiri Pandit Sangharsh Samiti, with us. We've got Sahil Bashir Butt, who's a political activist. He's an engineer, a businessman, and also a leader of the BJP, wearing a lot of hats. Sahil, lovely to have you with us. And Yana Mir, she's Editor-in-Chief, the Real Kashmir News, and you're also President of All JK Youth Society. So namaste and thank you very, very much. Wonderful to have you with us. Sanjay ji, first तो कि हम बात क्यों कर रहे हैं, हम बैठ के कहवा पी के let's just enjoy the view. That's the first thought.
Sure.
But this is the beauty of Kashmir.
Yeah.
3 years, in the last 3 years, have things really changed? And what more needs to be done?
Whatever is happening in the valley, either by this government or by the previous governments, there is a misconception in the general Muslim public in the valley that the Kashmiri Pandits are behind that. Okay. So that it starts way from 1931, then 1947, then 57, and it goes on still. And still it is in the minds of the most of the majority, within the majority community, that everything is on the behest of the Kashmiri Pandits, which is absolutely rubbish. Because it was just created by one of the particular party who runs the show right from 1947 till recently. Because we as a Kashmiri Pandits have been labelled as Jan Sanghi and the Indian agents. And so the majority were labelled as that they are pro-Pakistani. So only the family which was running the show, they are the only Indians. So we have to do something for this. So अगर आप जैसे कि उन्होंने कहा था जी, अगर आपने ये कहा तो यहाँ पे तिरंगा उठाने वाला कोई नहीं होगा, तो तिरंगा तो हो रहा है, पहले से भी था, आज भी है, कल भी उठेगा. लेकिन ग्राउंड सिचुएशन अगर हम देख लेते हैं, इफ यू सी द ग्राउंड सिचुएशन, अभी हम डल लेक में है, वी आर एंजॉयिंग, टूरिस्ट आर कमिंग हियर, यात्रीज वर मोर in this year. But if you want really to look into understand the situation, then you have to come to my home in the downtown, and you have to sit with me at least for 2 days. Then you will feel whether actually the Kashmiri has changed on the ground zero or not. Recently, आपने भी देखा होगा, the country has seen that a signboard of the Hurriyat was brought down. I think the brought down of the Hurriyat Conference Board has not changed the mind of the people. So we have to look inside in our hearts whether they have changed their sentiments, what they were being taught by right from 1931, correct, 1947, and after that it came the Hurriyat Conference. There was lots of killings of Kashmiri Pandits, Muslim security forces in the early 1990 militancy period. I don't think there is a mindset.
तो संजय जी, आप भी तो एक बात कह रहे हैं, आप खुद ही एक बात कह रहे हैं that this is not an easy task. जैसा इन्होंने कहा, इसी सेंचुरी से ले लें और पोस्ट इंडिपेंडेंस के बाद से ले लें, 1947 से बात कर लें, हम अक्टूबर के महीने में हैं, 22 अक्टूबर का दिन सबको याद है यहाँ का, और 27 अक्टूबर का दिन भी याद है. ये सारी बातें जुलाई 1947 में इसको सुलझा लिया जा सकता था, ये बात भी लिखा हुआ है, विदित है, और ये भी किसने कहा, पंडित जवाहरलाल नेहरू ने 1952 में कहा था असेंबली. तो ये सब बातें अब सामने आ गई हैं. पर इस माइंडसेट को चेंज करने की कोशिश की जा रही है या इसको और वक्त लगेगा?
ऐसा नहीं है. These seeds were sown on the name of K policy since 1947.
Okay.
And day by day, when all these parties who ruled here for all these 70 years, they were in partnership, I must say, in partnership with the Jamaat-e-Islami, Hurriyat, and across border ISI propagandists. Now these they mind washed the youth of Jammu and Kashmir from last 30 years, and these the seeds of separatism, the seeds of azadi, and the seeds of terrorism, they were sown in their minds. And what was the result? Destruction. But since abrogation of Article 370, what we have witnessed, I may disagree with Sanjay ji on some points. These things never happened before abrogation of Article 370. These things happened now. None of the event happened from last 30 years, although it was all in cross-firings, crackdowns and everything, but never happened these things. Now, अगर हम development की बात करते हैं, sir, from last 70 years, there have been few hospitals, few roads, few bridges, few colleges, but this all changed.
साहिल, मैं आपको यहाँ पे एक बात बताऊँ कि कई बार ऐसा होता है कि आप सबसे पहले एक सिविलाइजेशन को अप्रूव करने के लिए और एलिनेट करने के लिए क्या करेंगे? आप पहले उसके एजुकेशन सिस्टम पे अटैक करेंगे, दूसरा वहाँ के लोगों को गुर्बत में रखेंगे या उनको तकलीफ में रखेंगे, और फिर उनको डिनाई करेंगे बेसिक्स, ताकि वहाँ एक अंडरलाइंग एंगर हो, और फिर उस एंगर का जिम्मेदार किसी को ठहराएंगे, तो किसी को विलेन बनाएंगे। वो आपने फौज को बना दिया जो भी यूनिफॉर्म पहन रहा है। तो ये तो एक नैरेटिव सेटिंग बहुत प्यार से इन्होंने किया है, लेकिन अब जो 3 साल में जो चेंज आप कह रहे हैं माइंडसेट के साथ साथ, सबसे ज्यादा ये है कि आपको आइडेंटिफाई करने की जरूरत है कि ये फसाद बोने वाले जो हैं या जहां जहां इनकी उपज है, इनको आप कैसे निकालेंगे? एंड is that possible? And do you believe, Yanamir, that there is, see, Dr. Meher is with us and she'll know more, that what happens in a household and what happens in society, a lot of it is taught inside the household. And in the household, in Jammu and Kashmir and across the board, 50% of our country's population is women. And the nurturer, the guider, everything is the woman. Do you believe that Kashmiri women have also fallen prey to this narrative and they believe that their children should actually go and pick up the gun and die for this cause of, so-called cause of Azadi, which is all a plant? Have they also been subject to this? Or do the women have a different story to tell, but they're just waiting when they can khulke come out and say it?
Women have been victims, but not on their own. This was not what they wanted, obviously, because Kashmiri women are very affectionate, very compassionate. She'll agree with me. And now you spoke about the narrative setting. I would like to tell your audience and also sir here, the blaming on Kashmiri Pandits, like he said, is a very beautifully decorated narrative. Because, you know, Islam does not, again, she's a PhD in Islam, so she will explain. Islam does not allow you to fight. Now, everybody will be surprised to hear this, because people think Islam is all about fight, jihad. No, jihad just means survival. You're supposed to, self-sustenance. You're supposed to survive. You're supposed to help your old parents survive, your children survive. That's it. Now, Islam only permits you to retaliate. If somebody hits you on the eye, you can retaliate, but forgiveness again is given the first importance.
You don't hit first.
You never hit first. You're not allowed to hit first.
You don't.
So when you cannot hit first, obviously that means they have to set a narrative that Hindus are unleashing atrocities on us. Hindus are taking away our rights. Hindus are this and Hindus are that. Now not only Hindus, even non-local laborers are taking away our rights. Demographic change. And who is actually trying to sow these seeds? Now you're asking if has the Kashmiri mindset changed? They never wanted the bloodshed. They never wanted the Kashmiri Pandits to go. But who came on media day before yesterday and said that these killings will continue until we get justice? Who gives these kind of obnoxious statements? They are the ones who are sowing these seeds.
It cannot be only the politicians. No, these politicians are also being backed by a system. Yeah. Does it all point back to the Jamaat and those backed by the ISI who are operating out of here, who actually manage the system, Dr. Meher? And where do the women stand? Because there are women who believe that what's happening is wrong right now and what was happening earlier is right. They still believe that the forces are supposed to be sare fasad ki jad, whereas the forces don't even need to be around here if everything is all right.
Yeah.
You talk to any Fauji, they'll say, why should we go and interfere in civilian lives? We'd rather do other things.
So you have to understand the system. It weighs back to 89. So this 30 years now, 33 years of proxy war has changed a lot in Kashmir. क्या हुआ सबसे पहले जो है जैसे you were saying कि educational systems जो है उनको अटैक किया गया. तो सबसे पहले स्कूल जलाए गए और schools की replacement में they started developing a system of schools called Falahi-Am Trust and what not, all these schools of Jamaat. So in these schools they used to imbibe the seeds of terror and what not, wrong narratives, misinformation, disinformation, and this was imbibed in the blood and heart of the children. So incorporating such things in educational systems makes a change. Okay, that not enough. When these Jamaati schools were shut and new schools were created and banned and all, these were the teachers who were deputed and employed in the government institutions, in the universities and other places. So this chain of spreading the narrative, it continued, and it gave roots into this educational system. वहाँ से जो है ये चीज़ जो है ये बहुत ज़्यादा जो है prominent हो गई और इसकी वजह से जो सारे हमारे बच्चे थे जो अब जैसे हम जवान हो गए, हम तक ये जो चीज़ है ये इतना strongly आ गई कि हमें लगा कि Kashmir is all about that. From these last 3 years, there is a tremendous change happening. I was lately, Anna, maybe you were also there. There was this fashion show happening. See, I won't say fashion shows are development. I won't say we have a cinema here now after years and years, it is a development. No, I won't say that. I won't say that we did Ganesh Visarjan, we did Dashera, we did Eid Milad. That is a development. No, I won't say that. But at least the happiness, the index of happiness in the people's minds and heads and lives makes a place a different place to live in. It gives them that jazba to come forward and do something to change the society. So yeah, coming again to your question, the woman. So I won't agree to Yana when she says that all the women didn't want this. Some of the women were fed in a manner. I won't say they wanted it, but they were fed in a manner. They were conditioned. The societal conditioning was such that they found, in one of my speeches I have said, that the women in South find romanticism in these dark things of terrorism.
No, I've spoken to a lot of Pandit families and they said कि हमें हमारे the next generation, 90s के बाद जो बाहर पैदा हुए हैं, उन्होंने बस एक ही चीज़ कही है कि हमें सिर्फ एक चीज़ सिखाई गई कि पढ़ो, ज्ञान, नॉलेज इज इम्पोर्टेंट. आपके पास ज्ञान है तो जो भली सब छिन जाए वापस आ जाएगा. तो आज उनके पास बंगला है, गाड़ी है, सब कुछ है, तो फिर वहाँ पर लोग बोलते हैं तो पंडित आराम कर रहे हैं, यहाँ इनका तो बढ़िया चल रहा है, इनको कौन सा सफरिंग हुआ है, इनका कौन सा देश छूट गया, ये तो अपॉर्चुनिटी के लिए छोड़ के आ गए कश्मीर. सो देन इट हर्ट्स देम. दे सेड अरे just because we have done something because of our own ability and we have done out of our own thing, how can you turn around and say this? So then that's another narrative which is fixed कि यहाँ लोग गरीब हैं, यहाँ लोगों को पढ़ाई नहीं है, कॉलेज नहीं है, स्कूल नहीं है, तो कश्मीर में हालात खराब हैं, पंडित तो वहाँ मजे लूट रहे हैं. You see how the narratives have been. Do you agree, disagree that this has happened, and at least has that changed?
No, it is happening. It is happening because we started it way back in 1997. Those who left in the valley, we started the yagyas in the temples, and in 1999 there was the first procession of Lord Krishna's birthday. So we started to meet the people, especially the majority community. And after that there was a first Dashera after 19 years, which was organized by the KPSS. And एक पुतला हमने जलाया उस दिन, and government was so much intense कि कहीं कुछ ना हो जाए. But you will be surprised कि जो फिर हमने जो दशहरा बनाया है यहाँ पे till 2017, 18 से हम नहीं बना रहे हैं. So there was around 35,000 people from the majority community. क्या हम कितने ही हैं कश्मीर में, right? So it was around 1,000 maximum Hindus, Pandits and Sikhs. Rest of them were the majority community. अब जो आपने, मैं एक सवाल इनसे पूछना चाहता हूँ, बेसिकली मैं कल से ये 1 महीने से सबसे पूछ रहा हूँ, व्हाट इज एक्चुअल इस्लाम? क्या इस्लाम ये है कि अगर एक बेगुनाह को मारा जाता है तो सारी इंसानियत का खून हो जाता है, या वो इस्लाम जिस इस्लाम के ऊपर यहाँ पे हजारों लोग मारे गए, मैं खाली कश्मीरी पंडितों की बात नहीं करूँ, सरदार भी मारे गए, मुस्लिम्स भी मारे गए, मुसलमान भी मर गए. तो एक्चुअली जितने भी हमारी प्रीचर्स जो है, जो मौलवी साहिबान हैं यहाँ पे, मैंने लास्ट ईयर 5 अक्टूबर से मैं अपील करता रहता हूँ उनसे अपनी सोशल मीडिया के थ्रू भी, 1-to-1 में भी, कि आप प्लीज़ ये बता दीजिए कि एक्चुअल इस्लाम है क्या?
So, yes, the hadith you quoted that killing a human is killing of humanity is absolutely true. And the Prophet was very compassionate. Everybody has to understand कि इन लोगों ने, मैं आपको कह रही हूँ ना, this society shifted from matriarchal to patriarchal to radicalized to a Puritan Islamic society. And Puritan Islam does not mean pure Islam. It means मैं जो वर्जन इस्लाम का मानता हूँ वही सही है, जो मैं बोलूँगा वो सही है, याना काफिर है, साहिल काफिर है, मेहर काफिर है, क्योंकि मैं सही हूँ, क्योंकि मैं चाहता हूँ कि ये वाला जो फॉर्म है इस्लाम का ये मुझे चाहिए, ठीक है, बाकी मैं छोड़ दूंगा. आई विल नॉट अंडरस्टैंड लॉजिक, आई विल नॉट रीड कुरान. इन मुल्लाओं में से कितने सारे मुल्लाओं ने कुरान की पूरी तफसीर पढ़ी है? इन सिविल सोसाइटी के मेंबर्स में कितने सारे लोग हैं जिन्होंने अपने कुरान घर पे ताकच पे नहीं रखे हुए हैं और उसको डस्ट चढ़ती रहती है, फिर 3 दिन के बाद उतार के ऐसे उसको, आई एम सॉरी, आई एम नॉट अगेंस्ट रिलीजन, आई लव माई रिलीजन, बट ये लोग फिर ऐसे वो डस्ट ऊपर से साफ करते हैं, फिर आंखों पे लगाते हैं, देन दे स्टार्ट रीडिंग द अरबिक वर्जन ऑफ कुरान
विदाउट अंडरस्टैंडिंग.
Why don't you understand it? Why don't you read it? Why don't you understand the level of ethics and morals, that are imbibed in Islam?
Do you believe that if you need to change things effectively, then those people who actually distorted the narrative, those people who fueled this, those people who allowed this lot a free run, should actually not be given Z+ security but should be put behind bars?
There is not a single incident of stone pelting recorded since abrogation of Article 370. Everybody knows. There is not a single Hurriyat leader who gives a shutdown call and every day every family enjoys the holiday. There has been recorded 8 years of holidays, cumulative shutdown since last 35 years. So everybody agrees to this, and there has not been a single hartal call since abrogation of Article 370. Terrorism is being uprooted, weeded out, and hats off to our security forces, especially J&K police, who have been given their blood and life to, eradicate this terrorism. Now there are some moles in this system, in the political system. जिन्होंने अपनी जड़ें इस मजबूती के साथ लगाई हुई हैं कि वो 1 साल में या 2 साल में हम नहीं काट सकते या कोई भी सरकार नहीं काट सकती, लेकिन उनके खिलाफ काफ़ी केसेस हैं, उनके खिलाफ काफ़ी सबूत है. एंड क्योंकि J&K में इट इज़ नॉट, अभी LG साहब की एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन है, एंड आई रिक्वेस्ट कि जिनके खिलाफ भी कोई भी छोटा बड़ा ये आपको है, दे शुड बी पुट बिहाइंड बार्स.
कहा जाता है कि उनके खिलाफ जितने केसेस हैं वो कहीं डल में, सेंटर में, कहीं फ्रीजर में पड़े हुए हैं, कोल्ड स्टोरेज में.
क्योंकि निकालने में थोड़ा टाइम, ढूंढने में थोड़ा टाइम लगेगा, लेकिन निकालने में टाइम नहीं लगेगा.
मैं ऐड करूं इनमें, इन्होंने कहा कि सबसे बड़ा जो चीज हुई है कि स्टोन पेल्टिंग नहीं हुई. वो सच बात है कि फ्राइडे के दिन यहाँ पे स्टोन पेल्टिंग होती थी, लेकिन ये कोई नहीं जान पा रहा है कि वो स्टोन पेल्टिंग क्यों हो रही थी. ठीक है, एक नैरेटिव ये है कि 500 रुपए देते थे तो वो स्टोन पेल्टिंग के लिए आते हैं. मैं आज की डेट में कह रहा हूँ, जितनी भी बीजेपी के यहाँ पे जो कार्डर्स है उनको 1000 रुपए मिलता है, वो इनकी रैली में आते हैं. तो ये मानते क्यों नहीं? दैट्स नंबर 1 पॉइंट. ये हाइब्रिड मिलिटेंट्स कैसे बढ़ गए, इसके ऊपर जरूरी बात करनी पड़ेगी. लिविंग एसाइड की पंडितों के साथ क्या हुआ, इनके साथ क्या हुआ जी. 2 चीजें हैं. ये हाइब्रिड मिलिटेंट रातों रात नहीं बनते हैं. एंड नंबर 2, जो यहाँ पे जो ये लोग सभी कह रहे हैं, इन्होंने, मैम ने भी कहा कि हालात ठीक है, सब कुछ ठीक है, जब तक दिल से, माइंड से लोगों का जहन चेंज नहीं हुआ, 1947 से लेके आज तक बेयरिंग फिव रेशियो ऑफ द मेजॉरिटी कम्युनिटी जो दिल से हिंदुस्तानी थे, वो आज भी है. क्योंकि आप लोग क्या करते हो वहां से, दिल्ली से, मैं आपकी बात नहीं कर रहा हूं, जो दिल्ली में होते हैं 1947 से लेके आज तक भी उनको लग रहा है कि ठीक है, मेरे पास 10 बंदे आ गए तो ये सब कुछ ठीक होगा. वो नहीं है. अब हाइब्रिड मिलिटेंसी की जो बात चल रही है, जिसके टारगेट हम हो रहे हैं एज ऑन डेट फ्रॉम 5 अक्टूबर लास्ट डे. एंड यू विल बी सरप्राइज, 2003 में यहाँ पे मैसेकर हुआ था कश्मीरी पंडितों का. देयर वाज नादिमर्ग मैसेकर.
करेक्ट जी, नादिमर्ग. ठीक है जी.
But after that, after 18 years, the first casualty of a non-migrant was the Mr. Bidro. लेकिन 2020 में भी 2 कश्मीरी पंडितों को मारा गया जो इनकी पार्टी से थे. But along with that, there was the Muslim sarpanch also who had been killed.
Correct.
So we see it as those killings as a political killings.
Yes, they are.
ठीक है, तो मुझे ये बताइए 18 साल किलिंग क्यों नहीं हुई कश्मीरी पंडितों की यहाँ पे? So there was a wall created by many peoples along with the KPs living in the valley. ठीक है, वो wall आज की डेट में नहीं है. That's why anybody is
लेकिन संजय जी, I'll tell you, but that was a false wall.
That is true.
See, because that only,
I'll
tell you what happened, Sanjay
That was not a
ji.
wall.
Biggest question, Pulwama
That was a
attack.
partnership.
Nahi,
That was a
nahi,
partnership
हाँ.
which actually broke right now. And what Sanjay ji is telling me, and what few other Kashmiri Pandits are telling me, it's actually what they want. Actually what they want.
Nahi, you
They
have to
want to,
understand
they want them to question this thing. They want them to, seek questions from majority community people that why this didn't happen from last 30 years and now it's happening. It's because of BJP.
जो कश्मीर है ना, इसमें सबसे बड़ा बिजनेस टूरिज्म नहीं है, कॉन्फ्लिक्ट एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप है. तो ये जो कॉन्फ्लिक्ट एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप है ना, ये फेयर साइकोसिस पे चलती है. और जैसे ही एब्रोगेशन हुआ, संजय जी आपको ही मैं बोल रही हूँ, जैसे ही ये खत्म हुआ तो फेयर साइकोसिस जो है वो फेड होते हुए दिखाई दिया. और जैसे ही फेयर साइकोसिस फेड हुआ, इनकी दुकानें बंद होती हुई दिखाई दी. और जैसे ही इनको लगा कि हमारी दुकानें बंद हो जाएंगी तो दुकानों को खोलने के लिए कुछ तो करना ही था.
And can I add
पंडित्स
something?
पे अटैक was a
way
desperate
to open the shop.
desperate attempt to keep their shops and businesses running and feed and leech on the blood of Kashmiris.
But Sahil, this is another thing, that they have been able to control the narrative abroad. When you have a US envoy going into a place which they have called Azad Kashmir but is not Azad Kashmir, and tries to portray a different picture, that means that they have been effective at trying to build the narrative. So the narrative is not just been built in Jammu and Kashmir, the narrative has been built across the world. Why should any nation call it Indian Kashmir? Your blood should boil. But do we have nations, India, the might of India going after any country which says Indian Kashmir? They should turn around and say Pakistan occupied Kashmir. And you have a US envoy coming out and saying Azad Kashmir. And we are saying, we are just issuing a very strong objection to it. हमने उनको ये नहीं कहा, the might of 25% of the world's population will come after you if you do that again. We have to adapt that tone, no? वो tone नहीं है, तब mindset change होगा साहिल. आप मानते हैं नहीं मानते हैं?
बिल्कुल आनंद जी, बट इसमें एक चीज़ मैं ऐड करना चाहूँगा, that globally when we talk about geopolitics and geo-terrorism, the Islam name and the jihad name, it has been used as a weapon for this narrative.
Abused as a weapon.
Abused as a weapon for this narrative, to build this narrative. और सेम चीज़ पाकिस्तान ने के पॉलिसी के नाम पे यहाँ पर भी किया. एंड जो चीज़ उन्होंने बोई है वो हम 2 साल 3 साल में ख़त्म नहीं कर सकते, उसको ख़त्म करने में टाइम लगेगा. एल्स उन्होंने पिछले 70 सालों से वो लोग बोल रहे हैं, सिंस इंडिपेंडेंस की, हम लोग बॉर्डर पे तैनात है, तैयार बैठे हैं, आप हमको आवाज़ दो, हम नून चाय, नमकीन चाय लाल चौक में पियेंगे. अभी 70 साल में उन्होंने 2 कदम आगे नहीं बढ़ाए और हमारे तो लाखों नौजवान हमने दे दिए.
नहीं, आप ये शुक्र मनाइए कि 1970 के 71 के टाइम में 32 किलोमीटर दूर थे, लाहौर से पीछे बुलवा लिए गए, नहीं तो वहाँ तो हम लोग वहाँ नून चाय पी रहे होते हैं, बात अलग है. बट एनीवे, on that note, thank you very much. Wonderful conversation. It was supposed to be a short chat, but वो लंबी बात हो गई है. ये बात और लंबी चलेगी after the roll, but for the moment I have to wind up. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anand.
Thank you.